It's live, Commissioner Way.
There we go. Okay. I am showing 6 o'clock, and I hereby call this special meeting of the San Benito County Planning Commission to order. And if we could get Commissioner Ringhayden to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And hopefully I'm not giving news to anybody, but earlier today in Utah, Charlie Kirk, political person, was assassinated. And as a result, I would like to have a moment of silence. I think political assassinations, political violence is never justified in any circumstance. So if we could have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. And could we have the roll call, please?
Absolutely. District 1, Vincent Ringhayden.
Present.
District 2, Richard Way.
Present.
District 3, Robert Scaliotti.
Present.
District 4, Robert Gibson.
Present.
And District 5, Bobby Thomason is absent, but we have a quorum.
Thank you. The consent agenda tonight consists solely of the posting of the certificate. And do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you very much. There are no items on the public hearing, and as a result, there will be no public comment on the public hearing items. Moving on to the regular agenda, item 6.1. Receiving a notice, presentation, and recommendation regarding the consideration of district property, San Benito High School District. If we could have the presentation on that, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair, fellow commissioners and members of the public for coming out tonight. My name is Ariel Goodspeed, and I'm the principal planner for the County of San Benito. And it's my pleasure to bring this presentation on the San Benito High School District's consideration of a district property as a future high school site. So we're going to have a report and a recommendation from the Planning Commission to provide any comments on this. So we've brought before another acquisition, and so we're just going to kind of go through the different government codes that relate to this isn't necessarily an acquisition, but that relate to a district property as a future high school site and what applies and what doesn't, just for the general understanding of the public. So the first one, Government Code Section 65402, and I won't read everything, but it still applies. It's essentially applies to the acquisition of the development. Now, this parcel was acquired by the school district on December 30th, 2025. And so it's not being acquired, but still relates. And this government code really talks to that the Planning Commission must provide a report within 40 days after the matter has been submitted, and shall be conclusively deemed a finding that the proposed acquisition, disposition, or public building or structure is in conformity with said adopted general plan and part thereof.
Ariel, just to clarify for the record, it was 1997, not 2025.
What did I?
When they acquired
1997. Yes.
I think the date that Ariel was referring to is when we received the notice, August 20th, 2025.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. I should have had a second dose of coffee before this, but we'll make do. Thank you. The next public resource code, section 211512, and this talks about that the Planning Commission shall investigate the proposed site within 30 days after receipt of the notice and shall submit to the governing board a written report of the investigation and its recommendations concerning acquisition of the site. So this really speaks to when there's going to be an acquisition of a property for a new school site, or there is an addition to a present school site. Again, this parcel was previously acquired in 1997, not this year. And this is the Planning Commission's opportunity to comment on the proposed future school site. Now, under Education Code Section 17215.5, and this code section really just talks about how a school district has notified and consulted with us being the county and the county within which the prospective school site would be located. The final site selection has been evaluated by the governing board of the school district based on all factors affecting public interest in the school district. Is attempting to minimize any public health or safety issues resulting from neighboring agricultural uses that may affect pupils or employees. On this particular one, it applies where a school district will acquire real property for a new school site, and this was, again, done back in 1997. Government Code Section 65352.2 talks it requires notice to the Planning Commission before adoption of a school facility, needs analysis, master plan, or other long-range planning related to the acquisition of the new school site. Now, this still does apply, and it really outlines the communication between the planning agency and the school district. In our ongoing relationship with the San Benito High School District, the school district has always made themselves available to me when requested and has met the requirements of this government code section. Government Code Section 53094, and I promise this is the last one tonight, talks to a governing board or school district that has complied with the requirements of Section 65352.2 and Section 21151.2 of the Public Resources Code by a vote of 2/3 of its members, and it may render city or county zoning ordinance inapplicable to proposed use of the property by the school district. So essentially what this is talking about is that it does not require school district to comply with zoning where the county zoning ordinance does not provide for the location of public schools and have an adopted general plan, as discussed. And right now we're going to kind of get into a little bit about the parcel and the site and the existing zoning and general plan, but that this is something that, could occur and not something that has occurred on this site at this time. So most members of the public are familiar with the school district's property. It's cornered in between Best Road and State Highway 25. You have the Fairhaven kind of going, I guess, east or north in this image. You have Ridgemark to the west on the other side of the parcel, and it consists of 49.6 acres. Now, the existing general plan designation is residential mix and a zoning designation of rural. The purpose of this designation of residential mix in the unincorporated urban uses where circulation and utility exists, it will provide individuals with the opportunity to live in an unincorporated village or neighborhood atmosphere composed primarily of residential land uses with some commercial uses serving the residents. The designation applies to areas that are largely developed and have public infrastructure and services necessary to support the increased density. This designation allows for mixed-use development that includes residential, retail, and office uses. The residential mix designation does not preclude a school and is not necessarily inconsistent with the existing general plan designation. The rural zoning states that public schools are not regulated by this title under our code. Schools are one of the intended uses within the public quasi-public district, while state law promotes coordination between the school district and counties and cities in the evaluation and selection of new school sites, and the county is committed to coordination and collaboration. State law also allows the school district to overrule the zoning, local zoning and general plan land use designation. So given the state law, general plan amendment is not required. However, even if it's not required, a school site would not be precluded from the existing general plan designation as it stands. This is just an image, and it's attached in your packet of the district's notice to the county of the future school site of the 69.25 acres. I think I said 69.5 earlier, 25 acres. So next I'm going to kind of talk about our general plan policies addressing school sites. So under policy PFS 1.7, the county shall encourage public facilities to be clustered or make joint use facilities. Examples of this include like park or recreational. And this is in order to improve the efficiency and reduce public costs. The county shall encourage agreements for sharing costs and operational responsibilities among service providers. And then another policy, PFS 10.3, the county shall encourage school districts to site new schools in locations that are consistent with the current and future land uses. The county shall also encourage the siting of new schools near residential areas with safe access for students to walk or bike to and from their homes. Under policy PFS 10.6, the county shall coordinate with school districts to reduce effects of incompatible land uses and noise adjacent to school facilities. Under policy PFS 10.8, the county shall prohibit the siting of new land uses or facilities that use, store, emit, treat, or dispose of large quantities of hazardous materials within 1/4 mile of an existing public or private school facility. In addition, there are goal C-1. This is really relating to traffic. Under our general plan, to provide an adequate road system that is safe, efficient, reliable, and within the county's ability to finance and maintain. Under C 1.1, the county shall ensure that wherever possible, roadway, highway, public transit systems, pedestrian, bicycle trails are interconnected. Under policy C 1.5, we shall assess fees on all new development to ensure new development pays its fair share of the costs of new and expanded transportation facilities as applicable to county, city, regional. Policy C 1.12, the county shall endeavor to maintain general plan target goal of LOSD at all locations. If a transportation facility is already operating at a level of service D or E, the existing level of service should be maintained. Exceptions would be considered where achievement of these levels of service cause an unacceptable impact on other modes of transportation, the environment, or private property. Additional general plan policies that addressing traffic include encouraging driveways to be located on adjacent collector streets rather than on arterial streets. Shall encourage complete, safe, and interconnected bicycle, pedestrian, and equestrian systems as appropriate to the context that serve both commuter travel and recreational use and provide access to major destinations. And finally, policy C 2.9, the county shall support safe routes to school programs and pursue the SR2S grant funding to encourage school-age children to bike and walk to school. Traffic analysis under CEQA, Appendix G requires evaluation of whether a project will conflict with a program plan, ordinance, or policy addressing the circulation system, including transit, roadway, bicycle, pedestrian facilities, substantially increasing hazards due to geometric design features or incompatible uses, or result in inadequate emergency access. In addition, under our general plan policies addressing natural and cultural resources, NCR 4.2 water quality tests, so new development to prepare water quality tests prior to project approval, demonstrating whether proposed domestic water supply will meet the state primary and secondary drinking water standards. Just to state for the record, at this time, the letter did not include a school site and, percolation tests or water tests or any of this, but just these are things that would be addressed in the future if a school was developed. NCR 4.5 groundwater recharge, the county shall encourage new development to preserve where feasible areas that provide important groundwater recharge and stormwater management. NCR 4.6 groundwater studies for new development, just ensuring that adequate water supply, large-scale development projects meet the criteria of the California Water Code Section 10912, and prepare analysis that's sufficient, showing sufficiency of the groundwater from the basin or basins. NCR 4.10, water efficient landscape ordinance. All new development shall develop, maintain, and implement a water efficiency landscape ordinance consistent with the model water efficient landscape ordinance prepared by the California Department of Water Resources to require greater use of regionally native drought tolerant vegetation, limitations on the amount of turf in residential development, and other measures. Few more. NCR 4.11 reclaimed water, where feasible, use reclaimed water irrigation system in new development. NCR 4.14 wastewater treatment shall require wastewater treatment systems to be designed to promote long-term protection of our groundwater resources. NCR 4.15 septic systems shall require septic systems to be limited to areas where sewer services are not available. NCR 4.16 develop in existing areas shall encourage development to occur in or near existing developed areas in order to reduce the use of individual septic systems. And so your recommendation tonight, your purpose is to provide a recommendation, direct staff on a couple of things. One is the proposed consideration of a school site property as a future high school is consistent with the county general plan. In addition, direction to staff on any additional recommendations to include in the Planning Commission report that is to be submitted to the school district within 30 days. So more clearly include that the Planning Commission's recommendations state that the director is given that authority to put your guys' written responses into that letter, and that will be part of your recommendation. At this time, that does conclude my presentation that I have for you. However, our esteemed Superintendent Sean Tenenbaum is here and does have a presentation, if it is acceptable through the chair, to invite him up at this time.
Yes, I would like to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you. It's not up there.
CMAP, if you can please pull up the screen.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ariel. Well, good evening, commissioners. Thank you so much for convening on a special night. I really appreciate the opportunity to come before you. Sean Tenenbaum, the superintendent of the high school district. And it's been a while since I've been up here sharing about a school site, but I do appreciate the opportunity. I also want to compliment Ariel and her team on the collaborative work. We continue to have a great relationship with the RMA team, and it's nice to see Mr. Prado back in the fold. So I wanted to start tonight by saying thank you. I know on an evening, I had a board meeting last night, so it's back to back for myself. And so, I really appreciate you, coming out and hearing me out, and it's an important topic. It's a extremely important topic to the district and the community. I've shared this before, and I wanted to refamiliarize yourselves with the heat map. So I take it that everybody's taken a look at it and had an opportunity to digest the heat map. And I want to kind of walk you through the nexus of why we created this. This is a newer copy and a newer edition. So we've had a heat map now, I think, for 3 to 4 years. And the heat map is a great way to illustrate a couple of key factors when trying to locate the best possible school site location and or amenities. Every blue dot represents a household with a student in our district. The household may have one student, may have two, may have three, but we include one dot per household. So that is a student that lives in our boundaries and attends Hollister High School. And if you can kind of see and I'll see if I can make this a little bit, zooming in here. You can see the bright yellow areas. That is the most densely populated student areas within our district. So I'm going to kind of point to the map a little bit if that's okay. So you'll see on the west side of town, a large swath of deep yellow. That deep yellow, those are the most dense student populations within our district. And then if you move east from the west side of town towards Hillcrest, I believe it is, and there's a number 50 right above it. That again is another dense population of our students. Why is that important? Those students are primarily coming from multifamily units. Those students are also more than likely walking to school in some form or capacity. And so we know that because we see the heavy traffic coming from the west side. And if you've been over by the high school between the hours of 7:30 and 8:15 or 2:45 and 3:45, it is a heavily congested area. And I know I get some nods because it's actually quite a sight to see. So again, yellow, densely populated. Blue dot represents a student household. And then in the middle of the map, kind of a hand with a thumb up, but kind of reversed, is the high school. And that is currently Hollister High School right in the center of the map. The northern part, that rectangle, is city, and down below is county. So remember, Nash Road bisects our property. To the north of Nash Road is city, and to the south of Nash Road, halfway through the middle, is county property. And so it's an important facet to take a look at. The other key items on the heat map that I think are pertinent to the Planning Commission, if I was a commissioner, I'd want to know, what are they looking at to make their decisions? And we'll start down here at the bottom. This is magenta, pink, whatever the color may be. This is a potential development. This is an SB 330 development. This is, I believe, is the lands of Lima, if I'm not mistaken. And that is 344 students at a peak generation rate. Okay, a peak generation rate when we look at our facilities master planning could come. Again, that's potential, could come from a project that size. And I believe somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 units or whatever they submitted to the county. And then if we move from lands of Lima, you can kind of see just north of that, in that bright red again, is our Best Road property. And that is the property that the district, as Ms. Goodspeed eloquently shared with the commission, that the district purchased in 1997. It is adjacent to Airline Highway and conveniently situated right across from the Nino property on Best Road. If we move kind of through that particular area, you'll see the numbers 73, 49, 55. Those are all developments that we have either tracked through the county or the city as we get more into the city area. Some of those could be under construction, some are proposed, some are approved. So somewhere in the pipeline of whether or not a project is moving through to fruition, we are monitoring that project. It's probably the single most important thing is making sure that we are aligned with the county and aligned with the city. And I'll explain a little bit more. I'm going to point out here, just for references, here's Best Road. Number 55 is a projected 55 students from another SB 330 project. I believe that's the last name is Chen, if I'm not mistaken. And that is our neighbor. That is actually the parcel just north of us. So that is an important aspect of why we're here tonight. If we follow that a little bit further, up Airline Highway, you run into the new Gavilan College campus. It's a beautiful campus, it's a satellite campus, and they're doing some wonderful work there. But right next to it is Dividend Homes. And you'll see the number 73. The last time I was over in that particular area, Dividend Homes is under construction. So we know that right now they're going to generate students somehow. And a number we don't know exactly, but peak generation 73. And then just to the north, 49, if I'm not mistaken, is the Lands of Lee. And I believe that is a project that, again, went through a long trial and tribulation period, but it has been approved. And so we do see that moving forward. And I know the commission is well aware of the Lands of Lee project. So one of the main purposes of being here tonight, the district was wise. 1997, we purchased, a piece of land. I wasn't the superintendent at the time. Dr. Lowry was. If you know Dick Lowry, I believe Dick was the impetus behind all of this to purchase that particular piece of land. And we presume that notices went to all of those, agencies at the time, but nothing was really done at the moment, right? There was no plan to address, do we need a second high school right now? If you remember, for those of you that are hay balers and been around the community for some time, the Matalich property was purchased right after that in 1998. So on our particular piece of land, the Matalich family had a piece of property. 1997, Best Road was acquired, and then they purchased the Matalich property. And that expanded us. From that moment forward, we were moving west and south. So if you remember those days. So taking a look at moving through the heat map, again, what data are we using? We're looking at where the developments are occurring, where they're planned, where they're proposed. And then we're looking at how many students could be generated. We're looking at a peak generation rate, and then we're looking at our generation rate based on our school facility needs assessment and analysis. If we move west, you'll see a number of properties up to the northern portion towards the airport. And then you see the property we purchased and I came before you, which is just south of Wright Road, just north of Calaveras Road. And I think West Side is the actual road it's connected to. When we take a look at that particular land, it is 64 acres. That land was purchased to really align with your policies. Create a safe, walkable, bikeable high school. If we take a look at Best Road, and we look at Best Road, it does have one large impediment, which is Airline Highway. Airline Highway would be our neighbor, right? It would emit noise, pollution, emissions, etc. But if the county is moving in that direction in terms of a vision, right? If you're going to develop, and that's your decision making, east of Fairview and into South County, then the district has to create options. And that's simply why we're here tonight. We are not here saying that we're going to build a school tomorrow there, we are not here saying that that is our primary choice. We're here saying we need to be flexible, and we also need to align with your vision. So if the future for the county through the commission and the Board of Supervisors is really to continue to grow east and south, then we need to make sure that we are responsive in a positive way. The last thing I'm going to comment on the heat map before I open it up to any questions on the heat map, and I do have a few more other things to share with you, is I want you to really look at where our students come from. And that was the number one driver for the decision making. Remember, it wasn't Superintendent Tenenbaum making that decision. It was a group of roughly 60 individuals that came together to take a look at what priority factors were important in equity, social justice, making sure that we had a school that students could walk to, and we had a school that was responsive to our large, dense population. That's why we purchased the northern properties. if we're looking at the growth happening in South County, I'm going to reiterate that, then the district needs to be responsive to you. And last but not least, on the heat map, when we take a look at aligning with the general plan for the county, we also must align with the general plan of the city. And the city is going through another general planning process right now. We were part of that. If you remember, the district participated in that for almost 5 years. There was a 2040 general plan that was approved. That 2040 general plan was rescinded. And so we are back looking at where is the city and what is the city's intention for growth. And so our number one goal, gentlemen, when we're here tonight is to align with you. We have to make sure that we're aligning with both the city and the county. And most importantly, we have members from COG here tonight. We've been meeting with COG because we know that Highway 25 is going to be rerouted at some point. We want to make sure that we're part of that discussion. We also want to make sure that COG is aware and Caltrans is aware that a high school is going to potentially go right next to a highway. So we have to be a good neighbor. We have to make sure that we're transparent and open. Are there any questions so far? Doing okay on time? Okay. So I wanted to share a few other things. So we mentioned the SB 330 projects. We mentioned that those are close to our proximity and what drove us here tonight. But we've also requested a PQP, and I know Ms. Goodspeed eloquently talked a little bit about that earlier. The public quasi-public designation really helps planning purposes. It is not going to affect or say to the community that a school is going to be built tomorrow. It's basically designating the land into a public use, in this case, an agency such as a high school. Why is that important? It is important from a communication and a transparency standpoint. You have a general plan process. You look at different land in terms of development. Where is the next firehouse going to go? Where is the next library going to go? Is a landfill going to actually expand or not expand? That's a PQP designation. And most importantly, for our partners who are looking to do public projects, they now understand that a school may go on that particular parcel or parcels. I think it's just really good open transparency and communication. So we are requesting that. Whether a school goes there or not, gentlemen, it's really about making sure that we are communicating to our partners in the community and the community at large that a PQP means that a school or a public agency owns that property and something may occur. It doesn't mean it could, but something may occur. And last but not least, as we move forward, I do want to thank the commission one more time. I want to open it up to any questions, but I want to commend your staff. Ms. Goodspeed and the team have been phenomenal in their responsiveness to the district. So, questions?
Questions from the commission before we open it up for public comment. I do want to get to public comment, but any...
I'll wait until after public comment.
I'll wait also. Thank you.
I had a question about walking to that location. I see you smile. Can you tell us a little bit about how kids are going to walk to that location?
I think it's Commissioner, I think it's absent having some type of
Walking path?
yes, correct, across Highway 25. Students that may live in Ridgemark, which would be your densest population, I would assume, there would be none. It would have to be from, I'm sorry, the heat map's not up there, apologize. It would have to be from our adjacent parcel. So it really would not be a walkable, bikeable high school.
Currently. Location 50 on your heat map, is that, it's all yellow in there. Is that representing a highly densely populated potential student area on your heat map?
Yes, that's current. So the yellow is current. So that is a densely populated area, yes.
What area is that exactly?
I think isn't that the Hillcrest area? Is that
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think so. I
I
could be wrong.
I drove out and took a look at the site today, and if I'm not mistaken, off of 25, it's on the left-hand side if I was traveling southbound, and made my left onto Best Road. Is that right?
Could be, yes.
Okay.
Could be, yeah.
It looks like a good location for, I mean, it seems like a good spot when I was thinking about what would be the impediments, but, you know, I'm sure people in the here might tell me, but what in your mind would be the impediments of putting a high school there?
Up by the yellow 50? If we're
No,
looking-
where you have it here in your spot off of Highway 25, where you're, this spot we're talking about tonight.
So the impediments, one, it's going to be a commuter school, number one. It will be a commuter high school. You will be driving there. So you're going to have automobiles. You have no known
On
transport.
Fairview, which is not that busy, right?
Correct.
I guess that was where I was going with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's, I mean, sorry. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you know, when we're looking at, you know, can we create a walkable, bikeable? We looked at 23 properties, and I think I shared this with the commission before. The district did a great job purchasing this, but growth didn't surround it, right, at one point. So when we take a look at it, there really would not be a walking path that I know of. Yeah, thank you. Good questions, by the way.
Okay. All right, I guess let's go ahead and open up for public comment then, and then we'll bring it back to the commission for discussion.
Absolutely. Cesar Placencia, please approach the podium. You will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Cesar Placencia, field representative for Carpenters Local 405, NorCal Carpenters Union. Had you and the district considered the possibility of a new high school at this location, I urge you to include pre-qualification language in the plan. This is how we make sure that if the school district moves forward, only responsible contractors are chosen. Contractors who pay livable wage, provide health care, follow labor compliance, and participate in apprenticeship programs that give the next generation a path to good careers. We don't want to see what happened at UC Santa Cruz project repeated here. A contractor like W.E. O'Neill lied on the bid packet, answering no when asked if they had a workplace death in the last 5 years by creating a separate division LLC. They got awarded the job, and just last week they had another death on a project in San Diego. That's exactly why pre-qualification language matters. This school should be built responsibly with contractors who protect their workers, invest in local community, and reflect the values we all stand for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, please approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes.
Howdy. I live off of Best Road. I agree with the last statement the person had, local, whatever. It is going to be a total walkable school. Just some background on that. The college property, when it was decided to buy that, we used to have tiger salamanders, and we used to have kit foxes out there. When it was decided that they were going to buy the property, they disked the property night and day for days to destroy all the habitat of the kit foxes and the tiger salamanders. We have tiger salamanders in this area. It's mapped out on the state map. And the pond that they breed in is on Dividend Homes property, and it's not going to be changed. That pond, I think, is going to exist. There's a few properties on that street, and we still have tiger salamanders that exist. You are not going to get good water by drilling there. You're going to have to get it from Sunny Slope. The water, I'm the water board president. The water is terrible. You're not going to get any good water from drilling there. So that's out. It's irresponsible to put in, and I know you're not going to, but it's irresponsible to put in septic tanks, because all that does is take salt water, put it in the upper layers, and then all that salt water accumulates in the top. There's a giant program to use San Luis water, blue valve water, to push out the salt water underneath to the ocean to stop the intrusion from salt water up the Pajaro. So that's, you guys are not going to use well water, or you shouldn't. It would be totally irresponsible. To me, hopefully this is the third high school location that would happen. So the one that's on the north side of the town would happen first.
All depends.
Yeah, it all depends. But as far as development goes, Lima's going to have to die before you build houses on his property. Maybe his kids will sell. I don't know. I don't really see the development making it yellow to locate a high school there. The convenience of the property and it already being purchased, to me, is what's driving this. It doesn't matter to anybody now except us residents. When we bought knowing that all the properties around us were zoned for 5 acres, and we thought that those places would be developed. But no, the government has seen to change the zoning on all the properties and basically destroy our way of life. Sort of frustrating. The old timers can sort of appreciate that, but we understand that growth is going to happen, so it's inevitable. But save the tiger salamanders. That's all it is.
Thank you.
I have no more public comment cards. Okay, Maureen Nelson, please approach the podium. You will have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity. Me again. So when we're talking about schools, we're talking about kids, we're talking about availability. Santana Ranch is still building. I know, I live there. The kids were told this last year that they had to go into a lottery because they didn't know if there were enough available seats in Santana Ranch for them, that they would have to go somewhere else. So as you see, as we continue to expand in Santana Ranch, we continue to get young students that will be going to high school. A high school that is on Best Road would be really appropriate for the large community at Santana Ranch. Lansley is just down the road. They're also going to have not only the first homes, but they're going to have the ADUs. That's a whole other nightmare of a story. We're not going to go into that. Fairview Corners, already being built. More homes, more kids. Lanza Lima, large development. To say that there is no stoplight, no signage on Highway 25 for the kids to cross is fictitious. You don't need a stoplight there right now, but we happen to have a stoplight sitting next to Gavilan College. You can put a stoplight there. It is a rural highway. You can stop people and you can get kids safely across the street to meet the needs of the houses that are there. When we start moving our schools to the north and to the west, that's not necessarily where the new growth is going. So I think we ought to look at all possibilities. The property's been purchased since 1997. I wanted to say 77 again. I like 79. Now's the year I got married, but let's go with 97. Property's already there. The people are coming, whether we want it or not. Children come also. We already have a school on the west side. We need to have a school on the east. Thank you. And I do respect Dr. Tenenbaum, so thank you, Dr. Tenenbaum, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, I have no more public speaker cards.
Okay.
Commissioner,
Dr. Tenenbaum?
yeah, is it okay just to respond to a couple of the?
Of course.
Okay, thank you very much. So the district did enter into a project labor agreement for our carpenter in the room. So for the second high school, that was something that we did do, working with the Building and Trades Association and closely supporting with David Beanie. So that was really good. Okay, so it's a good piece of information for you. And secondly, I do, when we're taking a look at making sure that we're citing, and I really appreciate the resident on Best Road and Maureen's comments, a lot of respect to you, Maureen, is really looking at the density around a potential site. Absolutely. With your direction, things could happen east of Fairview. Things have already happened. But when we take a look at, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the heat map here. It's not up. When we look at that, creating a walkable, bikeable community for how many? And how do we create access? So I just wanted to respond to that. Thank you for the public comments and the opportunity. And commissioners, I'd love to hear your thoughts and if you have any questions.
Thank you. Are there questions?
I have one.
Go for it.
Okay, if that Lanza Lima does get through and get passed, proposed, that 360, 40 something people, students you say are going to be there, how are you going to get them across Airline Highway?
Well, I don't know how they would get across Airline Highway. I think we would work together to, or the developer would work with you to be able to put some
Do you
traffic
think
mitigation.
Airline Highway is a state highway,
Correct.
correct?
Yeah, I mean,
You think the state of California is either going to put a stoplight there for you or a student overpass? Have you guys, have you ventured to talk to the state of California?
No, we have not.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah.
Have you done a full EIR on this piece of property yet?
No, we have not.
Have you done a full EIR on a piece of property on Wright Road?
No, and you know that. We have
No, I
not.
didn't know that. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Yeah,
I've
we
got
did.
other things to do besides this.
Preliminary Title V report, that's what we did to bring it up to where we were with Wright Road. We are nowhere near ready to do a full EIR. If we're ready, and that is the school site that would be determined, and it's a great question, Commissioner, we will notify the appropriate parties, whether it be the state, Caltrans, et cetera. But we're really early. We wanted to be transparent and open with you that this is a potential school site.
Have you talked to Sunny Slope Water District and or the city of Hollister to get water to that piece of property
We have.
and sewer? And what are they telling you?
So right now, we're working with Sunny Slope Water District. I think that is a positive step moving forward.
And does that parcel have a blue valve on it? Does it have district water on that parcel? Is there district water on that parcel so you can irrigate the ball fields and stuff?
There is currently, I think it's either blue or gray valve water. So it's,
Blue valve. Okay. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, and for disclosure, I met with representatives from the high school, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, I don't know, sometime in the recent past.
Thank you for the meeting.
And we had a conversation about this site and the other site and all kinds of good things. The agenda is about this site, so I'll talk about this site. If I had to pick a site, I think it would be this site, simply because it's not paving over prime farmland. Of course, you're worried about walkability and all that good stuff. That's not at the top of my list. Mine is protecting farmland. But I would like to see if you are going to go through the process, do some sort of environmental review. I know there was discussion about the salamanders and all that good stuff. But Gavilan did build and Lee built and Fairview Corners built, so there is a way around it. I know that there used to be, or maybe there still is, hay being grown on that acreage.
At one point, right now, cattle.
Cattle. But if you're going to grow hay, you rip it deep and you just keep disking it to make that hay grow. So that's always a possibility. Those are my only thoughts for now. Thank you.
And I do appreciate the opportunity to meet, so thank you, Robert.
If I might, I know you're a long way off, but, and there's a lot to go through, but I see that site and all the houses that are coming around it. I have to think that, you got Fairview Corners, Lands of Lima, Lands of Lee, you got the college right there. To me, it looks like a good site. My only concern is, how do you get there as a student? But I do think it's a good site. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. I think, they're wise. I think it has potential. I really do. I wouldn't be here wasting your time. I think it has potential.
I agree with what the other commissioners have said. My concern is that you may be jumping the gun a little bit, but on the other hand, you have to plan for the future. But there is a non-negative probability that some or, well, probably not all, but some of these projects may never come to fruition. The 330 projects, the Lands of Lima, some of the other 330 projects may not happen. And if some of them are very, very large and you're counting on them to justify your siting of the school, how does that calculate, how does that change your calculus, or does it change your calculus? For example, and I'm not saying Lands of Lima is going away. I haven't even looked at it. It hasn't come to us to be looked at. But if for some reason it did go away, would you be sitting there going, dang, we shouldn't have put the school there?
Yeah, I Commissioner Way, I think, you bring up an excellent point, and I want to come back to this. The SB 330 applications themselves drove us here.
Yeah.
Right? Taking a look at the potential for what could happen.
Right.
And I understand that some of those may never come to fruition. We understand that. But we have to effectively plan.
Sure.
We also want to make sure that we're very open and transparent with the commission as well as our community, that we have some flexibility. And I'm going to come back to this, if the county desires to build east of Fairview or South County, then we need to create some flexibility in our own planning and align with you. Same with the Northwest. When we look at our densely populated student areas, those students do walk. Those students do ride their bikes. And if we're going to have more and more students in that particular area, we need to be cognizant. So I think it has tons of potential. I think you're right. Our calculus is really to align, and I know this is a message you've already heard, but is to really align where your direction is going.
Right. I can't speak for the Board of Supervisors, obviously, but I don't know that their intention is to continue to develop east of Fairview. I don't think that's where they're headed, but I don't know that.
Correct.
So, in any event, I do think that this is a potentially better site than the Wright Road site, with the exception of, and it's a major exception, getting the students to the site.
I think you're right, Commissioner Wayne. I want to compliment you, and I want to compliment the commission for hearing us this evening. And your comments, your questions have been, on point. You've been extremely gracious in your commentary. I think when we look at where we are, Best Road does have potential, and we will try to align with the county. We also have, the Northwest properties, and those really have great potential because of the density of the student population. I'd be happy to come back, down the road and let you know where we are. But we look forward to your input. We look forward to your feedback. And most importantly, we look forward to working with you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so further discussion within the commission, or shall we give staff direction?
Yeah. My direction would be to include in the letter that this site is consistent with the general plan, but we do request an EIR.
I would agree with that.
I definitely agree with that.
Is that consensus?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I like to respond a little bit to your comments, and there are a lot of stuff is down the chute, but to kind of get the feeling, Lands of Lee and the college and all the kids that maybe Ridgemark and Santana Ranch, this might be a better, if there could be a way to get there safely.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of kids in that area.
Yeah.
And so one high school in this area doesn't seem like enough anyway.
And those kids are going to potentially transition to Gavilan at some point.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
Do you need that
And
in the form of
what
a
about
motion?
the PQP designation? Is that on the agenda for tonight? I didn't think it was.
I didn't see it.
It is not, but it could be part of your recommendation tonight.
To do an overlay? Is it's not going to be a general plan amendment, it'll just be a zoning overlay? Is that what it would be?
So there could be a recommendation to do a general plan amendment to public, quasi-public. Some of the benefits of doing, of including that recommendation is, for example, like when COG is doing their planning, then they're aware of a future public use, for schools or other public facilities in the future, and that changes their transportation planning.
Who would pay for this general plan amendment? Given the county's current situation, is the high school district paying for a general plan amendment, or is the county of San Benito?
Current discussions was an application to be submitted to the county.
So the school district, is that what that means?
Correct. An application submitted to the county would be subject to county fees.
We would entertain, Gibson working with the staff on what that might entail.
Okay. Could you just
Yeah.
reiterate that into the microphone for the members
Yeah.
of the public on Zoom land?
And to have it on the record.
No, you're fine. So the district would be, would entertain the opportunity to work with county staff, RMA staff, on what that might entail. I don't know yet. We haven't been down that path before, but if you recommend it moving forward, that's a possibility, we would work with the staff to determine viability.
Okay, thank you.
Can we move forward with that from a legal standpoint since it was not on the agenda?
Yeah, you can give direction in that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so directed.
And just generally, this is your chance to sort of give your advice as to what should be included.
Right.
So I wouldn't hesitate to say that you think that traffic's a problem or whatever it would be.
Right.
CEQA would be required to be done for a project like this. So
Right,
it would,
right.
and it would influence that once you got there. Meaning
Right,
it might, elucidate what you would want to put into that.
Right. Well, I think we already asked to include the recommendation that an EIR be performed. But now we're talking about the PQP. Right. So we're in consensus that we want to recommend the overlay of a PQP.
A PQP general plan amendment?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I thought part of the county's big master plan was to have a bike path from Santana Ranch to Gavilan College. Is that still in the ether, or did that disappear at some point?
I can review the existing circulation plans with COG, and we can look at that deeper. In the meantime, I am hearing that when an EIR is performed, that there is additional review really looking at traffic circulation and walkability of the site.
I think both sites have similar issues. They're both by highways. But yeah, I mean, it's always a concern, student safety, whether they're walking, biking, or in particular driving. It's frightening thinking of these kids driving anywhere.
And I think they need to get with the state and figure out how they can get the kids across that highway if they want them to be able to walk. Stoplight,
Well, those
walking overpass or whatever. They got to figure it out.
pedestrian overpass would be the safest route, but given California's
I'd be up for
financial
that 100%.
situation, I don't think that'll happen.
And there's already a bike path along 25 from Trespinas. You just extend it down past Lima's
Yeah,
to Best
just
Road.
continue that.
Just continue it. It's there. It's not a bad place for a school. I agree with that.
Certainly beats other options.
That beats the other option, 100%.
Okay. So we don't need a resolution. We just need to give staff direction.
Staff direction to incorporate those comments into a formal letter,
Okay.
and you're authorizing the director with that authority.
Yes.
Sounds good. All right. Then I think that.
Can I just
Go
point
ahead.
something out, though?
Please.
Don't kids walk across Highway 25 right now to get to the high school that's existing now? The answer is yes.
Yes, I've seen
Yeah, they cross
at
Sunny
the
Slope
at the
and everywhere else.
Union. I've seen kids crossing.
There's a couple
Morning.
places. It
And-
is, as he said, impressive to see school get out. Those kids, there's lots of them. They're everywhere.
Oh.
There is no highway around Hollister High School.
Well, no, you still got to, so when I go to, for example, Taco Bell or any of those areas over there, there's a whole influx of kids. And I think it's great, but they are crossing Highway 25. Just FYI.
Well, the only difference there is you have all the stoplights that kind of slows people down. And I do agree with you 100%. They do walk across Highway 25 and they don't care what the light says and the way they go.
Well, yeah, kids will be kids, but I'm just thinking that if we can figure out how to get them to Hollister High School now, crossing 25, we can figure out, get Caltrans involved to figure it out.
100%.
Okay.
I think we solved the world's problems tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, that I think concludes our actual business that we had on the agenda. And I believe that Commissioner Gibson had a comment before we move on to adjourning.
I'm having a senior moment. I did at the beginning of the meeting, but now I can't
okay.
remember what it was. We'll deal with it in 2 weeks, I guess.
All right.
Chair, did you make a motion? I would make a motion for this.
1 week. Sorry?
Did you make a motion for this item?
A motion on...
On giving direction to staff, I would sort of consolidate
I'm
your
sorry.
guidance here.
I thought I asked if I needed a motion, and I thought the consensus was that I didn't. But,
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Okay. Okay.
Motion would be
Do we have a
preferred.
motion to give direction to staff as discussed?
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 4-0. Thank you. And I guess there is no comment at this time. And is there a motion to adjourn?
Oh, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. We are adjourned at 7:02. Thank you very much. See you all in 1 week.